Well, a man is facing DWI charges after a deadly crash in Iredell County. So it happened over the weekend along I-77. The busy interstate was shut down for hours. Authorities believe Benjamin Overton was impaired and speeding when he hit another vehicle. The impact from the crash caused two women who had on their seatbelts to be ejected. They both died from their injuries. Here to be able to break down the charges, it's Queen City News Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, this case really stands out, not only because you have two people who died, but it's also his bond was set at $2.5 million, which I think goes into what he's being charged for. Let's talk about it.
100%. You're talking about the loss of life. So this is extremely unfortunate. Our statute is pretty clear that every charge outside of murder, the judge, the judicial official that listens to the case, that hears it originally, has to set some conditions for release. So they need to set a secured bond, unsecured, written promise to appear, or release to a third party. In this situation, they chose secured bond as expected. And then you look in when you're making that determination, you're determining, well, what's their likelihood of appearing? What's their likelihood of committing some crime, specifically some new violent crime? And even though we don't have a detention statute in North Carolina, they're also contemplating, well, do I want to detain this person or do I want to release them? Sometimes you can hear the judge having this mental discussion with themselves. Well, the question that I'm thinking about is, do I even want this person out? And if the judge decides they don't want them to be released, they'll either do a couple things. They'll set no bond, or they'll set the bond that they know this person can't meet. That 2.5 was obviously showing, I don't want you getting out, that I'm going to set this number high enough where there's not a chance that you're going to get out. For most folks, coming up with $250,000 and finding enough collateral to support it, where a bail bond company will let this person out, is not going to happen. So that's exactly what the judge was doing.
What stands out to you about this case?
The fact that this person was a repeat offender multiple times, that there are a number of process problems within our criminal justice system, and this being one of them. When you have a person that's been punished multiple times, that's been convicted multiple times, but still somehow finds a way to get behind the wheel and cause this type of damage. You're on the same roads that I'm on every day. And so while I defend individuals that are charged with these types of crime on a daily basis, these are oftentimes the ones that give me the pause, where I have to think about, wow, are you going to go back out there and can something like this happen? Oftentimes I can put that to the side, but I was on 77. I was traveling up in Iredell County. Those are the types of things that could have happened to any one of us that are on the road every day. And so you just start to think about, well, what else could have been done? And I'm not sure what could have been done. You convict, you take the license revoked. This person should not have been driving, but yet they still were.
So let's look at the charges. I mentioned the two felony charges, obviously, with DWI, but there's also driving while impaired, careless and reckless driving, also driving while the license has been revoked. What other charges are pending, and could these other charges have felony charges too?
Well, you have the death by motor vehicle. Those are going to be the largest charges that he has so far, right? But then what they're talking about that pending one is, I've seen in situations where a prosecutor's office has decided to charge a person with second-degree murder. And you can do that here in North Carolina if you can show that there's malice, that this person knew or should have known that they shouldn't have been driving, that because they had previous convictions in the past that have taken their license. That's what that driving while license revoked for impaired revocation is. So you combine those two, that you have a death, you have this person that's driving when they knew they shouldn't have been driving. I've seen incidents specifically, I believe Rowan County was the most recent time where I saw that they had a person that was in a situation like this, got a DWI, and they upcharged it to second-degree murder, which I think if you look at all the facts, and when they talk about there are number of charges that can come, that's what they're looking and trying to figure out. Do they have enough to charge him with second-degree murder?
We mentioned that two people died. It's so tragic here. When you look at that, what steps are the families taking? What can they be able to do?
You obviously, they'll work in hand with the prosecutor's office to ensure that this person is convicted. And so they'll come to trial if there is a trial, or they'll come to sentencing and they'll do those victim impact statements where the family comes up there and they talks about what this loss means to them personally. And when you're in the room, when that happens, there's not a dry eye in the room. And so you have that portion that can be there. But then you also have the civil component. Most of the time, people that are in these situations may not have the means to cover some type of civil claim, but there'll be a civil process that will occur. First of all, you'll have the process where the insurance will take care of it, and you'll file some claim against his insurance. Going through that, that's just like any other tort. You have a duty, you have a breach, causation, and damages. All of those factors will clearly be there. So now you're trying to see, well, does this person have a policy that will cover it? Well, now if their policy doesn't cover it, do I have a policy that covers uninsured or underinsured? There are a number of things that they'll be walking through on the civil side while the prosecutor's office is handling the criminal side. But this is any type of relative's worst nightmare. You're not anticipating someone to die in this capacity, specifically, as we mentioned, having your seatbelt on. That's the most unfortunate situation, clearly avoidable, and there needs to be more things done in place to keep folks like this off the road.
Khalif Rhodes, we appreciate your insight.